Ladies and gentlemen, we are live and welcome on into Hazley's Hot Takes. I'm your host, Clint, and in today's video, we'll be previewing the main card for UFC 318, headlined by the BMF title fight of Dustin Poirier versus MaxHolloway. And just kind of unpacking what to expect in this video here, we'll be previewing the UFC 318 main card. We'll be starting with the main card opener, working our way all the way up to the main event. And in each of the fights on the card, we're going to preview each fight stylistically and also pick who we think is going to win and how they're going to win as well. So that's a lot to unpack. Let's get right into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start off with our main card opener of Michael Johnson versus Daniel Zellhuber. This one is quite interesting. This is a lightweight matchup of a guy that's past his prime in Michael Johnson and a guy that's just now entering his prime of Daniel Zellhuber. As you can see, Michael Johnson 24-19 with his record being 24-19, and then Daniel Zellhuber is 15-2. Daniel Zellhuber, I think his last fight was last year in the Sphere, lost a thrilling decision to Esteban Ribovics, and it was a very entertaining fight throughout all three rounds. It was kind of a rock'em sock'em robots for about 2 rounds of that, or maybe 2.5 rounds of that. Very, very entertaining overall. But as far as these guys match up, it's not close. Daniel Zellhuber can probably win this any way he wants. I would predict that he's going to keep this standing and just kind of pick apart at Michael Johnson from range with his reach advantage, which is 3.5 inches, and then also his kicking as well. He's a great kickboxer overall, and not to show my hand or anything along those lines, but I am a huge fan of Daniel Zellhuber. And once Dustin Poirier retires on Saturday night, this will be who I am pulling for the foreseeable future in the lightweight division. Very young, talented kid, and a very, very good fighting spirit, and entertaining to watch as well. But yeah, my pick on this one is going to be Daniel Zellhuber by TKO in round 2. And moving on up the card, we have Dan Ige versus Patricio Pitbull in a 3-round featherweight fight. This one is a mirror matchup, if you could ask me, because they're both power punchers that are both aging in the featherweight division and are essentially at a crossroads overall. If I had to pick right now, one side or the other here, as they are so identically close, I'm going to go with Dan Ige just with his UFC experience, and I think he has the actual more accurate power and also does throw a tad bit more often. But look for Patricio Pitbull to kind of have a bounce back after he made his UFC debut against Yair Rodriguez and had low volume output throughout the entire fight, and he looked puzzled and confused by Yair Rodriguez. But Yair Rodriguez is a confusing striker in his own right. Dan Ige is more of a traditional striker, so look for this matchup to be standing on the feet for most of the 3 rounds, and look for it to just be a kickboxing affair with overhand rights thrown here and there throughout. But my pick here is going to be Dan Ige by decision. And moving on up the card, we have a welterweight affair between Kevin Holland and Daniel Rodriguez. And this is another matchup where it's essentially a mirror matchup. This is like a striker's delight, if you ask me. Kevin Holland he's the most often fighter in UFC history. I don't quote me on that, but I feel like he's on like every 3rd pay-per-view or even every 2nd pay-per-view. He's just very, very active. Will fight anyone, anywhere, any place, anytime. Kevin Holland is game. Daniel Rodriguez also is game, but he doesn't fight at the frequency of Kevin Holland, which no one does. But both of these guys are kickboxers who are going to throw a lot of power in both their hands. The overhand right for Kevin Holland and the overhand left, I believe, for D-Rod. So it's a southpaw versus an orthodox fighter. That can usually cause a clash, and somebody will probably go to sleep. So if I were to bet on this one, I would bet on this fight to not go the distance, just off of the fact that they're both gunning for knocking each other out. They're both strikers, both finishers, and that's probably the realistic outcome here. As far as the odds, as you can see, they're not currently on UFC's website because maybe they just don't know. Maybe somebody misses weight. Maybe this turns into being a catch weight bout. Both these guys are kind of have a history of being involved in catch weight bouts, so who knows there. In regards to my pick for this welterweight 3-round bout is going to be Kevin Holland. I'm going to go with a round 3 TKO here. I believe Kevin Holland has a better stamina and the better gas tank overall, and I think he's going to throw more volume early and often, and that could wear down Daniel Rodriguez and eventually get the finish in round 3. And now it's time for our co-main event of the evening. Paulo Costa takes on Roman Copilov in the middleweight division, a 3-round fight. This one is quite interesting to me, as Paulo Costa is trending seemingly downwards in his career trajectory at this point, and Roman Copilov is the sky's the limit for his career trajectory at this point. This one is probably going to be a striking matchup here. Roman Kopylov has a chance to go for a takedown here and there, but I don't really anticipate Costa being able to be taken down. So it could be a kickboxing affair here with lots of power, lots of high power kicks, head kicks, body kicks from both these guys that can really, really turn the tide pretty quickly here. As far as how things are headed for Paulo Costa, he's kind of an inactive fighter overall and doesn't really have any momentum at this point. He's only aging and kind of trying to figure out where he's going, what his path is to the middleweight title. Roman Kopylov, a much younger fighter and seemingly much more hungry as well. So if you had to ask me who's going to win this fight between the two, I'm going to go with Roman Kopylov. He's got more ways to win. I think he's a better boxer overall. I think the kicking game on both sides kind of cancels each other out. Both have good low leg kicks. Both have great body kicks. Kopylov has a head kick KO to his name. And Paulo Costa has some of the best body kicks in the game. But his volume is where he tends to get beat. That is Paulo Costa. And as far as Roman Kopylov, he does have the volume advantage far and away here. So as far as my prediction, I'm going to go with Roman Kopylov by decision. And it's time. We've reached the main event of the evening. DustinPoirier takes on MaxHolloway for the BMF title in the lightweight division for 5 rounds. These guys have fought 2 times prior, Dustin taking both of those affairs, and the first fight controllably took that one. The second fight in 2019 handled it pretty good, almost had Max out of there a couple times early, and then Max's volume kind of came up and made it close. I think Dustin won that one by majority decision there. So this one is interesting. MaxHolloway is now a well-established lightweight. You can ask Justin Gaethje that, because at UFC 300 that was wild. But this one, I think it's close. I mean, the odds have it at minus 118 for Dustin, or minus 118 for Max, minus 102 for Dustin. So really a coin flip. I think the odds have actually gone further for Max, and Dustin is now plus money, if I'm not mistaken on that. But this one is, I really don't know who's going to win. I can see Dustin starting out slow and Max starting out hot, and I can see that flipping as the rounds go on, right? I can see Dustin losing round 1, but maybe winning round 2 and 3, and then Max winning round 4, and it comes down to round 5, something like that. Both these guys have great cardio, great boxing, tight, crisp boxing. I think as far as the volume, it favors MaxHolloway, but as far as the power, it favors DustinPoirier. As far as the deliberating shots there, the kicks are kind of checking out equal there. Maybe you give it a slight lean to DustinPoirier, but ever so slight there. If I had to make a prediction here, who's going to win the BMF title, I am picking DustinPoirier to get it done in his hometown. I'm taking DustinPoirier to win this one by, let's say, a 4th round KO, and closes out a historic career as one of the best lightweights to ever do it, and leaves on his own terms, leaves in his own city, and leaves his gloves in the octagon with a win and a belt around his waist. And this wraps up episode 12 of Hazley's Hot Takes, previewing UFC 318's main card. Excited for this fight card throughout. The names and the star power really aren't there, but the stylistic matchups are there, absolutely. So it could be a night full of KOs, TKOs, finishes, or it could be a night full of wars. I'm excited to find out on Saturday night. Once again, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for the continued support. Don't be afraid to like or subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated as well. But hope everybody has a great rest of your Tuesday night, and I'll catch you in the next one.